When it comes to extreme temperatures, which presents the greater threat? Being burned alive or freezing to death? This stark comparison highlights the devastating risks associated with both high and low temperatures through two tragic real-life incidents. On one hand, there is the harrowing case of Steven Dierkes, who in June 2022 fell into a vat of molten iron at a foundry in Mapleton, Illinois. The vat was filled with molten iron at a searing 2,600 degrees Fahrenheit, resulting in immediate and catastrophic incineration. On the other hand, we examined the heart-wrenching death of Nguyet in February 2023. She was trapped inside a walk-in freezer at an Arby's in New Iberia, Louisiana. The freezer, maintained at a freezing negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit, became her tomb due to a faulty latch that prevented her escape. Despite her desperate efforts to break free, she succumbed to hypothermia. In this video, we'll delve into these tragic cases, comparing the physiological impacts of extreme heat versus extreme cold, and exploring how failures in safety protocols can lead to such catastrophic outcomes. On June 2, 2022, Steven Dierkes, a devoted father of 3 young daughters, went to work at the Caterpillar foundry in Mapleton, Illinois. Although it was only his 9th day on the job, Dierkes was assigned the job of taking a sample from a vat of 2,600-degree molten iron. Tragically, while performing his duties, Dierkes tripped and fell into the vat. With no guardrail or protective measures in place, there was nothing to prevent his fall. There are 2 versions of the story regarding the length of Dierkes' employment. Initially, it was reported that he was on his 5th day, but some sources later claimed it was only his 9th day. Regardless of the exact timeline, it is clear that Dierkes was relatively new to the foundry. It is unknown whether he had prior experience in similar roles elsewhere, or was entirely new to his type of work when he started with Caterpillar. On that day, Dierkes was conducting an inspection, testing whether the temperature of the vat, or performing another related task. For reference, a vat is a large container or tank used in industrial processes for holding or processing liquids or other substances. At the Caterpillar foundry, the vat, an 11-foot deep pot, was used to hold molten iron at extremely high temperatures. In this case, over 2,600 degrees Fahrenheit. While kneeling over the vat, he unexpectedly tripped and fell into the molten iron. This tragic accident occurred at the worst possible moment. According to the report, Steven Dierkes was instantly incinerated, at least the part of his body that fell into the vat. The information released afterward indicates that only part of his body was submerged in the vat, suggesting that he might have tripped and nearly caught himself. But it was too late. As a result, a portion of his body entered the vat and was incinerated, while the rest fell onto the deck below. An investigation concluded that there was no foul play involved and that the incident was accidental. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration subsequently took over the investigation, and they had covered that Caterpillar had insufficient guardrails around the vat area and some other vats. Consequently, the company was fined approximately $150,000 due to the risks associated with inadequate safety measures, which could lead to future incidents. Moreover, the facility experienced another fatal accident the previous year, unrelated to the vats but involving a fall. This fine marks the second penalty imposed on the location. Bill Donovan, OSHA's regional administrator in Chicago, remarked that Steven Dierkes' death could have been prevented if Caterpillar had put in place the required safety measures. While the Caterpillar foundry producing over 150,000 tons annually, it is one of the largest in the nation. The company should have a thorough understanding of industry regulations to ensure worker safety when using smelters and other hazardous equipment, Donovan stated. Authorities observed that Caterpillar had not installed the federally mandated guardrails and restraint systems needed to prevent such incidents. Additional investigations are anticipated to provide more information about the case. The Mapleton foundry, which employs approximately 800 workers, is a large facility where adherence to safety protocols is essential. Unfortunately, in this case, the worst outcome occurred. An employee tripped and fell into a vat of molten iron, leading to immediate incineration. In February 2023, 63-year-old Nguyet, who was originally managing an Arby's fast food restaurant in Houston, Texas, was asked to take a temporary assignment managing a different Arby's location in New Iberia, Louisiana. She was initially scheduled for 4 weeks, but her stay was extended by an additional 2 weeks. On the morning of May 11, 2023, Leigh was dropped off at the restaurant located at 1120 East Admiral Doyle Drive to open the store by herself. As part of her opening duties, she entered the walk-in freezer, which company policy required to be maintained at approximately -10 degrees Fahrenheit. When she attempted to leave the freezer and pushed on the large metal door, it did not open. The door was somehow locked, leaving her trapped inside alone. Leigh was an employee of Turbo Restaurants Company, a subsidiary of Sun Holdings Incorporated, which operates over 1,000 restaurants across the country, including Golden Coral, Applebee's, IHOP, Papa John's, and Arby's. Up until 2023, Leigh served as the general manager of Arby's in Houston, Texas, and was recognized for her excellent performance, dedication, and attentiveness to her job and colleagues. This dedication led to her being asked to manage another Arby's location in New Iberia, Louisiana, for a month. Her direct supervisor, Mr. Finster, presented her with this temporary assignment, which she accepted. She was not alone. Her son, Wen, who worked with her at the Houston Arby's, accompanied her to the New Iberia location. After arriving in New Iberia and beginning her duties, Mr. Finster later requested that they extend their stay for an additional 2 weeks, which they agreed to. On May 11, 2023, Leigh arrived early at the store after Wen dropped her off. He then returned to their accommodation and was scheduled to come back for his shift at 10 a.m. The exact time of her drop-off is unknown, but it was before his return. Leigh unlocked the front door and began his routine opening tasks, which included bookkeeping, checking the produce, and ensuring the store's cleanliness. As part of these tasks, she entered the walk-in freezer, which was maintained at approximately -10 degrees Fahrenheit. When she attempted to leave the freezer, she discovered that the door would not open. Unbeknownst to her, the door had a faulty latch, preventing her from opening it from the inside. Alone in the store, with Wen not expected to return until 10 a.m., Leigh was trapped and likely experienced overwhelming panic. She began banging on the door and screaming for help, hoping that someone passing by or nearby might hear and assist. Her hands became bloodied from her efforts, and her core body temperature dropped rapidly. When Wen arrived for his shift, he noticed that Leigh was missing and eventually checked the walk-in freezer. He found her lying face down in the fetal position, with blood on the door and floor from her attempts to escape. She struck the door repeatedly with all her strength in a desperate attempt to escape. Her efforts to bang on the door and scream for help grew weaker as her core body temperature dropped rapidly due to the extreme cold. Eventually, she became too weak to continue, most likely because hypothermia was setting in. As her strength faded, she collapsed into the fetal position, unable to continue her attempts to escape or call for help. The subsequent lawsuit claims that a former employee reported that the walk-in freezer had been malfunctioning since at least August 2022. Employees had been using a screwdriver to help open and close the door, as well as a box of oil to keep it propped open. The issue had been reported to the district manager, who had visited the location and was aware of the problem. Despite this, employees continued to use these makeshift solutions to avoid being trapped. The family filed a lawsuit against the franchise owner and Sun Holdings Incorporated, represented by Paul Skrabanek, seeking $1 million in damages. The lawsuit alleges negligence and gross negligence for failing to repair the freezer, properly supervise the franchise, provide adequate training, and address the known issue with the freezer. These failures are cited as the direct cause for Leigh's death. OSHA recommends that individuals entering such freezers wear warm clothes and non-slip shoes, and that businesses ensure the floors of these freezers are not slippery. Additionally, OSHA advises that employees check the freezer frequently to ensure no one is trapped inside, and that a means to open the freezer from the inside should be provided. According to Skrabanek, heavy-duty industrial freezers often lack an emergency exit. Besides the risks posed by freezing temperatures, injuries or fatalities can also result from heavy supplies falling from freezer shelves. These well-known dangers could be mitigated with proper maintenance. Skrabanek suggests that emergency release mechanisms and alarms should be installed to prevent entrapment in freezers, and that freezers should be organized to prevent heavy items from falling off shelves. He also recommends keeping emergency supplies inside freezers in case someone becomes trapped. Thank you for watching our video on these tragic cases. If you found it informative, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth investigations and updates.